first, you are my last, you are my future and my past. And you are my first, you are my last, you are my future and my past.
Hey everybody, it's Roxy, Kyler, and Eli, and we are excited to be with you today. If you were listening in on church, you would have heard Pastor Tim preach about the story of Job. And we do not have a godly play story that explains the story of Job. So I'm just going to kind of summarize it, and then we are going to talk about it and read a book. Basically, the story of Job is it's a story where the devil, or Satan, tells God that one of God's followers, Job, is so good and makes such good decisions, but if God allows the devil or Satan to make bad things happen to Job, that surely Job will not believe in God anymore and not be faithful to God. So basically, Satan is trying to convince God that he's only faithful because good things have happened to Job. So Job has a lot of money, and he says, well, yeah, it's easy to be faithful when you have a lot of money and you have a lot of livestock. You have cows and pigs and sheep. You have a wife, you have kids, you have land, you have all of these great things, Job. But if all of that goes away, will you still be faithful? Will you still believe in God? So it was a big test, basically. And throughout this entire story, bad things happen. Job loses his money, his land, his livestock, his children die. He has a horrible rash all over his body. There are all of these bad things that happen to test Job, to see, will you still believe in God? Will you still be faithful? Or will you turn from God when these bad things happen to you? And sure enough, as the story goes, Job is upset, and it definitely shakes Job. And he questions and he wonders, and he's sitting with his friends, and he definitely gets frustrated and cries and mourns when he loses his family and his possessions. But in the end, Job decides to still be faithful to God and not turn towards bad things. And it's an interesting lesson to learn for all of us, because so often there are bad things that happen in our life and we can't explain it. Why are some people getting COVID and not other people? Why do some people die from COVID and not other people? Why do some people have different abilities than other people? Why are some people's mental illness different than other people? Why are people's bodies created differently? Why do their bodies respond to things differently? Why are some people born into wealthy families and some others not in wealthy families? Why are some people born in countries where you kind of just got lucky to live in a free country versus being born in a country where it's war torn, and it just feels like there's a lot of things that are not fair. I don't know if you ever come across this in school, but to think back on the mosaic analogy, so the symbol of mosaics for us is that everybody is different, that there is brokenness in each of us, but that God is piecing it all together to create this beautiful masterpiece. And so in order to kind of talk about our differences and how we could perceive our challenges that we might face as signs of weaknesses or brokenness and just be so sad about it or have kind of a bad attitude about things, or we can see these challenges as and differences as ways to make us stronger. And part of that comes from just talking about it. So to talk about the fact that our skin color is different, to talk about how my brain functions in a way that's different from your brain or your brain, kind of what are our strengths, our weaknesses, and how can we just have open communication and talk about them. So for this Sunday's lesson, we are going to read this beautiful story book called Just Ask, and it's all about how even the title says, be different, be brave, be you. And it's a way to be faithful in who we are and who God made us exactly as we are. No matter if you learn differently, if you see differently, if you don't see at all, if you are deaf, if you're blind, and it goes through if you have a wheelchair, if you have different abilities that make you specifically unique to just you. If you're allergic to nuts, that's different, right? Like your body is different. It would have an allergic reaction to nuts where somebody else's might not. And sometimes that feels unfair. But how can all of us come together with our differences and our special abilities and be able to work together and be able to talk about it together? And some people are okay with talking about it, and some people might not be ready to talk about it. And even the main character, Sonia, says that you can ask adults. So just ask your parents, just ask me, just ask Pastor Tim, just ask any of those special adults in your life, your teachers, that might be able to help answer some of the questions as to why are we different? Why do seemingly kind of bad things or hard things happen to people? And how can we think the best about them and learn from them? And then together we will be strengthened and we will be a beautiful mosaic masterpiece. So I hope that you enjoy this story, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Just Ask by Sonia Sotomayor, illustrated by Rafael Lopez. Be different, be brave, be you. Hi, I'm Sonia. My friends and I are planting a garden. Gardens are magical places. Thousands of plants bloom together, but every flower, every berry, and every leaf is different. Each has a different smell, different color, different shape, and different purpose. Some flowers need lots of sunlight. Others thrive in the shade. Some have to be trimmed regularly, while others are better left alone. Some trees and flowers are more fragile and others are more hardy. Kids are all different too. Some of us are in a hurry, and others take more time. Some of us seem shy and quiet, while others are chatty and loud. Some of our differences are easy to spot, others take longer to notice. Each of us grows in our own way, so if you are curious about other kids, just ask. Not everyone is comfortable answering questions about themselves, but I don't mind. What am I doing? Several times a day, I prick my finger to measure the sugar in my blood, and I give myself shots of medicine called insulin. I do this because I have diabetes, and my body doesn't make insulin naturally like other people's. Even though this can sometimes hurt, I gather all of my courage to do it to be healthy. Do you ever need to take medicine to be healthy? I do. My name is Raphael, and I have asthma, which means I sometimes have trouble breathing. When that happens, I take a break and use an inhaler with medicine to make breathing easier. Quiet time helps me slow down and catch my breath. My inhaler is like a tool to help my body. Do you use a tool to help your body? I'm Anthony, and I use a wheelchair to get around. Even though I can't run with my legs, I can go super fast. How do you get from place to place? My name is Madison, and my guide dog, Lucky, helps me get places safely because I'm blind. My friend Arturo is blind too. He uses a cane to get around. Even though we can't see, we strengthen our other senses and notice lots of details others may miss. We can hear with our ears, smell with our noses, and feel with our hands. How do you use your senses? I'm Vieja.
I learn about the world differently because I can see, but I can't hear. I'm deaf. Most of the time, I communicate with people using my face and hands through sign language. It's cool to know another language. I also love reading and writing. What about you? I'm Bianca, and I have dyslexia, so I have to work really hard to take my time when I am reading and writing words. Sometimes I use computer programs to help me. I love learning by doing things. My imagination is full of ideas, and I'm very good at making art from the pictures I see in my mind. Are you really good at something? I'm great at dinosaurs. I know all about them. I'm Jordan, and I have autism. Organizing and counting all my toy dinosaurs again and again makes me feel calm. My classmate, Tiana, also has autism, but it's different for her. She doesn't talk, but I like to talk. I especially like to talk about dinosaurs. What do you like to talk about? For me, listening comes more easily than talking, and I'm a really good listener. My name is An, and I speak with a stutter. So I sometimes repeat a word or get stuck when I try to say it. It may take me a little longer to express myself, and sometimes I'm too shy to talk, but I understand everything that's going on. Do you ever wonder if people understand you? I do. My name is Julia. Sometimes I wiggle or make sounds that I can't control because I have Tourette's syndrome. People may look at me funny because they think I'm not paying attention or just acting out. But it's not true. I am listening. I don't always like having to explain. It frustrates me. But it helps when I tell people that it's just what my body does. Do you ever feel frustrated? My name is Manuel, and I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It is also called ADHD. I can get frustrated when I feel the need to move around, even though I'm supposed to sit still. When my teachers and friends are patient with me, if I forget something or get distracted, I can get myself back on track. What's helpful to you? I'm Nolan. It's helpful to me when the food I eat has a clear label that says that it's nut-free because I am allergic to nuts. They can make me so sick that I would have to go to the hospital if I ate any, even by accident. So I always tell people about my allergy and ask if any food has nut ingredients. Speaking up keeps me healthy. How do you use your voice? I love to sing, and I love to talk. I love to make new friends and be included. I am Grace. I am born with Down syndrome. Kids like me with Down syndrome have an extra building block called a chromosome in our bodies. But we are all different from each other too. I can do almost anything any other kid can do, though learning new things can take some time. One way I learn is to ask questions. What helps you learn? It's me, Sonia, again. I ask questions too. When something seems different or new, I just ask my parents or my teachers, and they help me to understand, especially if my friends don't feel ready to explain. This is what I've learned. Imagine if all the plants in this garden were exactly the same. Like, what if we only could grow peas? That would mean no strawberries or cucumbers or carrots. It might also mean no trees or roses or sunflowers. Just like in our garden, all the ways we are different make our neighborhood, our whole world really, more interesting and fun. And just like all of these plants, each of us has unique powers to share with the world and make it a more interesting and richer place. What will you do with your powers?